Okay, here is where we left off with our robot gripper. So everything's been assembled. You should have the top and the bottom parts, and everything should work nicely. When I grab this, right, grippers are coming in and out the way we want. I think with the joints you end up with 25 is what I had. So a whole bunch of parts, whole bunch of joints, and now what we're kind of heading towards is animating this bad boy. And so what we need to do this time that might be a little bit different is when I move this, you can see that I move it all the way back. It actually has the grippers cross over each other, right? And then the actuator goes clearly farther than it would be able to, right? And so that's kind of a problem. And then if we go all the way out, you can see they overlap with each other again. And so we want to kind of avoid all of that. So let's take it back here to where we started and figure out kind of how to fix that and then animate it, and then we'll record it and all that good stuff. And so what we want to do is we're going to open up the joints, and really the one that we're going to mess with is this main one, which is the actuator sliding in and out, which drives everything. Okay, so hover over this, and then there's this edit motion limits here. And you can go ahead and left click your normal click on that. And we need to kind of just play around with the limits of where we want this. And we're going to definitely want a minimum and definitely want a maximum. And so we're going to kind of toy around with this. And so I'm going to go negative first, because right now where this is located, this distance from the base, that's 0. So I know that in order to take this back there, I'm going to need to have a negative value. And so let's just kind of, you guys could play around with this if you want. If I do negative 20, you can see that's my distance. And in order to illustrate that, the only problem is that it moved the base on me. And that's okay, because it'll fix itself later. But it gives you an idea. We want this to be pretty close to the base, so 20 is not going to do it. Let's try and double that, and we'll go 40. And then we'll test that out. So we'll hit OK. And now what we want to do is just grab this and push it in. And so that's where it stops, is right there. It won't go any further back than that. And so that's where our limit's at. In one way, that's good, right? My limit stops this actuator from going past this. Okay, great. The problem, however, though, is that you can see that my grippers don't come together. And so if this was a robot gripper and it needed to grab something very small or fine, that's not going to work. So we need to kind of edit that again. And so we're going to tweak it a little bit. And let's just try 45 now and see what that does and hit OK. And we grab our actuator and push it all the way back, and we're a lot closer. We can see that this is now almost touching. And if we go over and look at this view, we can see that we still are within our clearances here, which is good. Okay, and let's just tweak that a little bit more and try and get it so these actually can shut if necessary. And I don't think I'm going to go much more. I think I'm just going to try 46 and see how that works. Okay. And so now let's make sure that at 46, I'm not past this. I'm not. Okay. Let's look at this view. And that looks pretty good. They're coming together. They're touching. That's what we want. Okay, so let's go with negative 46 as our value. And if for some reason when you drew yours, it was 46 doesn't work, you can toy around with these numbers. The goal is that you get the actuator all the way back without going past the front surface of your base, this surface right in here. Right? We don't want to go past that. And that your gripper is actually close. Right? Get close to closing. So that's what we are trying to achieve within this animation. Alright, so we are good there. And now we need to figure out, because this one's done, but we don't have a stop out this way. Right? They can kind of, that's still causing us a problem. And so really, we probably don't need it to go past the point where the grippers are the most wide, which would be just about flat right there. Okay? And so what I want to do right now is I'm going to kind of go back until I'm at my 0, which should be right about there. And I'm going to check this. I'm at negative 46. That's where I want to be. And now I'm going to check the box for maximum. And we're going to kind of play around with this a little bit as well. All right, so let's just try 20. And let's see what that looks like, okay? I can go a little bit further, right? So let's edit this again. Let's try 30. And hit OK. The reason you have to hit OK each time is so that it fixes it, that it brings that base back. And we're getting really close right there. Edit it again. Try 40. Let's see, I think that might be it for us. That's pretty much straight. I'd say that's good. So let's leave that at 40. And so just to kind of, give you guys that information again, what we're going to stay at is our minimum is minus 46, and this is mine. Yours should be the same if you did everything and drew everything correctly. But if you made some tweaks, you may have to, when you're drawing, you're modeling, you may have some different numbers. But again, with this minus 46 and the 40 as the maximum, what we're trying to achieve is that out here it's as wide as it goes, and down here the grippers touch. Okay, that's what we're trying to get to, and we're there, right? We've succeeded in doing that. Okay, and so now how do we animate this? We're going to go to the slider, and we're going to right click on it, and when I hit this animate joint relationships, it should work like this. So there is our robot gripper. The last thing I want to do here, and I'm going to hit escape to stop that, is I'd like you guys to do some kind of decorating here. I'd like you to open up, let's close this, and let's start to kind of change some of our colors here. I'm going to leave the base as aluminum. My grippers, I want to change the color. So I'm going to right click and go appearance, move that camera. And you guys can do whatever you want just to make them look a little bit different. So I'm going to go into paint. Oops. Glossy. And I'll have these be blue. And then, let's see, swing arms over here. Let's have our swing arms all be a color. I want my swing arms to be yellow. I'm going to make all the swing arms yellow. And you guys can have this, make it look like whatever you want. That's totally up to you. I'm good with that. Okay. I'm going to make the actuator red. And then maybe I'll make these control arms green. I think when you do something like this with the color or the materials, what it does is it just kind of sets apart your model so that you can see the motion with everything. So you can choose any colors you want. That's totally fine. Get it nice and decorated though. And if we try to do this and right click it, that's not going to work. We have to actually open that up and everything. Had a little technical difficulty there. So what I want to kind of show you guys again is what we want to do is animate this now, okay? And so we open this back up. Let me just edit that real quick. Right click on this and hit animate joint relationships. It gets moving for us, okay? And while we're doing that, I'm going to go back to my website here. You guys have done this before. Remember, it's gifcap.dev. And then we're going to hit Start Screen Recording. And we're going to go with Window. I'm going to go with Window. And I'm going to choose my Fusion window and hit Share. And it already snaps me back. And now I'm capturing that motion, which is exactly what I want. Don't need much of it. So I hit Stop Sharing, and now I'm going to go back to that. And there we go. And so now, remember, we can actually go ahead and kind of crop this a little bit. So there I've got that going. And we don't need much of it. And I'm going to mess with my sliders a bit. You can do that or you don't have to do that. Remember, I try to make it look like continuous motion. So it skips a little bit around. Try to slide it back. There we go. It looks like it's moving just the way I want it to. And I'm going to go ahead and hit render. And now it's zoomed in, got everything that I want showing, just 3 seconds, which is perfect, don't need much. And it's going to show on a loop like it's moving continuously. So I am happy with that. I'm going to hit download. And you guys can save yours. It'll probably automatically go to downloads. And then, of course, that's what you turn in, this little screenshot of your robot gripper.